how much it costs,
sure.
all that good stuff.
So the Boston Circus Guild is producing Cirque of the Dead, which is a Halloween spectacular circus and comedy and silliness and spookiness. It will be at Club Oberon starting October 18th and running through Halloween. So it's the 2 weekends prior to Halloween and Halloween itself. We have 2 shows that night. You can look us up at bostoncircusguild.com. You can also look for tickets on the American Repertory Theater website. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook/Boston Circus Guild, and we have information there for the Cirque of the Dead event that has been created just for this.
Fabulous. So though that second show that's going to run on Halloween night, did I see that it's going to be starting at 10 o'clock?
I believe so. On Halloween night, we have a 7 p.m. show and a 10:30 show.
So it will wrap up right at midnight.
We'll wrap up right at midnight on Halloween, and it will be a really wonderful night.
Excellent.
That's often one of our biggest crowds, and we love them.
Excellent. This was fabulous. Thank you so much for talking with me. It was really nice to meet you.
Great talking to you guys. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
So this is Amelia, and I'm here with
John Kozik from the Salem Witchboard Museum.
So this is a museum of Ouija boards, which is really cool and awesome. So on our show, we're always hesitant to tell people, because, like a lot of ghost hunters, a lot of novices, they like to go out and use Ouija boards. And Beth and I, we're a little hesitant sometimes to just tell anyone to go out and use them. So what are your feelings on that? So for us, it's like you don't know what you're bringing in. It's something you need to be trained on. You kind of have to learn how to protect yourself and whatever surroundings you're in. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's hard. I don't use a board.
Okay.
My grandmother used a board. I watched her as a young kid, and she played it alone and was able to yell out letters and numbers quicker than people could write it down. And she channeled a lot of stuff and was able to accurately tell where things were, or who eventually my mother and her girlfriend would marry, the names of the people and stuff. But when I talk to a lot of people that use boards, and like Karen Dahmer, she will say that whatever energy you're bringing, whatever intention you're bringing to that board is kind of what you're going to get out of it.
Okay.
So if you're a kid maybe looking for experimenting for the first time with a Ouija board, and you want to, ask if they're, either when you're going to die, or you're going to, try to summon a demon or something like that, you're probably going to get some kind of negative encounter with it.
Okay.
Whereas if you have good intentions, or you have, positivity towards it, then you're going to probably get those results as well. So again, through people I talk to, whether they have a ritual of wanting to have crystals or a silver coin or any kind of, anything to prepare them to have a better experience with it. But I think that there's a lot of superstitions about the boards.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of those I think are unfounded. I think that obviously playing alone, I don't believe that's true. I think you can play alone and it's safe, or having to say goodbye, or, whatever other, some of the superstitions, especially the playing alone one really sticks with me because I know my grandmother used it, playing alone, and I know it was very popular. In the museum, you'll see lots of depictions of people playing through the 20s all alone. It was never a big deal until you see like The Exorcist, where now there's a stigma about playing the board alone and becoming possessed. I think whatever you're bringing to using the board is probably what you'll get out of it.
Cool. And one more kind of superstition around it, which I heard you say something about the movie Ouija to some of the people who just left. And I really like that movie a lot. The ending really gets me. But a big thing in that movie is not using the board in a graveyard.
Yeah.
So do you think that's true? Should people avoid that? Or you think it's,
my personal opinion, I don't see the difference. What I think is funny, one of the stories I tell here, being in Salem, is I meet a lot of people that have worked at Parker Brothers. I ask them, the Parker Brothers produced the board from 66 to 91 in Salem. And in Salem, you have witches and Satanists and Christians, and you see a lot of different things in Salem. There's not really too many things that are shocking, I think, for most Salem residents. So, talking to people from Salem and who've worked at Parker Brothers, I'll ask them, oh, did you work with the Ouija board? And I've heard a lot of employees say that they knew employees that wouldn't work on the day that the Ouija board was made. And I think it's kind of funny where you're working in a factory, you see the paper go into the machine blank and then come out with the alphabet, but that freaks them out. And, I've joked, like, oh, you worked at Parker Brothers. Was it your job to put the demon in the box? Something like that. And 50% of the time you get a laugh. And the other 50% of the time people think you're serious. Like, no, I didn't do that. And they really think, and I think it's fascinating that someone that just works in a factory, it's just a job, probably something they don't love, that they would still have these reactions to kind of seeing behind the curtain, so to speak, and still being afraid of what comes out.
Yeah, that's fair. Of all your boards, you have so many and they're so beautiful. Which is your favorite?
My favorite is going to be my grandmother's board.
Okay.
If you look at all the boards in the collection, you'll notice that one seems more worn than all the rest. Her board, you can't see, but there's a board hanging higher than all the rest. And it's very well worn. And that's the board that I inherited after she passed away. And when I went online to find out more about it, I really was able to see all these different variations, all these different manufacturers. And that just made me more curious as to what the story was behind all this stuff. And really made me start going on this path of collecting and researching and getting more involved with the history of it.
Well, it's cool. It's all awesome. So if people want to come in and see your museum, what are your hours?
We're open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. In October, which is only a couple days away, we're open even later, extended hours, but at least 11 to 8, definitely. I don't know if they're open till 10, but 7 days a week. And we're right on Essex Street, right diagonally across from the Hawthorne Hotel, and you can't miss us.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a look at this.
Okay, so we know what that soundbite means. It is time for stories from Australia, mate.
20 plus years ago, I was in a relationship and we lived in a Federation house turned into 4 units. Federation period in Australia is from around 1880 to 1920. One night, my then fiancé called me at work to come home and help with her cat. He was going crazy and wouldn't enter the bedroom, and she thought there might be something in there that was scaring him. As work was only 5 minutes away and I was about finished, I got permission to leave early. Sure enough, her cat was freaking. When I picked him up to try to carry him to the bedroom, he damn near tore my arms apart trying to claw his way down. He was normally a placid cat who would never use his claws on a person. After he ran behind me and hid behind the couch, I looked through the lounge room door across the hallway and into the bedroom door, and that's when I saw something that took a moment to register. A side note. When looking through the bedroom door, you were essentially looking along what used to be the veranda. So the external wall to the right of your direction of sight was where the rail used to be. I saw a faint fog vaguely in the shape of a small-built person near this wall. I asked my partner if she could see anything, and she confirmed that yes, she could see a fog. Moments later, as we watched it, it became clearer and clearer and formed the shape of a girl, possibly in her early 20s, in a long, white dress. Yes, every ghost story needs a woman in white. In this case, the time period of the event that started this haunting was in a time when this was the only house on the street, and was owned by a wealthy family. So the long white puffed sleeve dress was normal clothing for the period and affluence. Anyway, she looked in our general direction, but not directly at us, turned back as if looking directly out from the old veranda, and then tipped over from the waist directly through a solid wall. The room suddenly appeared slightly lighter, and the cat walked past us both and calmly jumped up on the bed. The partner tried to stop me going back to work, but I said that as the cat was calmly entering the bedroom now, the entity was not likely to return. I asked a neighbor whose family had been in the same house for 3 generations on the next street over if there was any local history about a young girl killing herself by falling over the old veranda's rail, and after a moment of shock, she said, yes, there was, but it was never confirmed if it was a suicide or an accident. She asked me what I knew about it, and I said the pair of us watched her ghost last night reenact her purposely falling over the rail. Although it's only about a 2.5-meter fall nowadays, if the veranda was still there. In the time the building was a private house, it was a 4-meter drop into a stone-lined embankment. So quite fatal, especially when dropping head first. The story goes she was being forced into a marriage with the son of a big business owner to strengthen business ties. I think that this one kind of goes along with our general women in white stories that we've talked about before. And it lines up nicely with the idea of the women who have been asked to marry someone they don't want to marry, and they end up killing themselves over it and then forever walking around the earth.
Yeah, that's sad. I don't like that. Just don't try to force your daughters to marry people or not marry people, or
let people live their lives.
Just let us live our lives. You know, people don't need that pressure. Dad, are you listening? Just kidding. Sorry. No, but it's true. That's like such a bummer on people.
I've been married a long time. I'm sorry. I can't really relate to that one.
Well, that's really sad. I'm sorry she killed herself.
Yeah, but Daniel got to see a cool little ghostly apparition, and
Daniel sees a lot of apparitions.
Daniel definitely sees much more spooky stuff than I think I would ever want to see in my life.
He sees more than the general public, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Daniel's, I would say, definitely a medium. I don't know if he refers to himself that way, but...
Well, he's definitely very perceptive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have some reviews to go over?
We do have a review. Okay, so this week on our 5-star reviews, we got one.
Uno.
Un. It is from Rick, and Beth and I looked up how to say this guy's last name, and we're going to try.
Asked other people. We asked the Google.
We listened to some YouTube. So here I go. I'm going to try. Oh gosh, Rick, don't hate us. Rick Boaked. Yes, that is how Google told us to say it. Boaked. And
that's so funny because I heard it with a little bit more of an uct after that F sound. Which is why I was a little concerned with I didn't quite believe the Google. Although so in talking with Sean about it, he said that there's actually a catcher on the Giants who has the same last name and it's pronounced Voigt.
I thought the Giants was football.
The San Francisco Giants?
They
have a baseball team too.
But there's also a football Giants, right?
I believe so, yes. But they're from New York.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The San Francisco Giants are actually playing the Red Sox right now because Yaz Jr., the grandson of Carl Yastrzemski, the famous Yaz, is at Fenway right now. Well, was earlier today anyway. They're in town for a series. I can sports a little.
I can't. Despite working for the Red Sox for a very long time. Okay.
Now that we've butchered your name, Rick, we're just going to call you Rick.
Let's call him Rick in Front Royal.
Rick in Front Royal?
Yeah. So I think it says on here. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. 5 stars, great personalities that will keep you entertained with spooky, fun stuff. Well, thank you so much. That's a really good one to get. And he actually also sent me a private message saying he really liked our show, which was a delight. And I really appreciate it. And that's really awesome.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm glad that people can find you.
I'm very Googleable.
You are.
I get nervous about it sometimes.
It's cool because I am not findable.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm not gonna lie, Beth. I look at it from both ways. Like, I get like nervous about it because I'm worried like people could find me, like people could know me from anywhere because there's a lot of information about me online.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I have to Google myself a lot to make sure that my standing's okay and there's nothing like weird showing up because I get Googled a lot for business. But if you Google my name and like someone else shows up, I get annoyed. Like another Amelia out there. Sorry. Like there's a singer in a band, or she was like in a band for a little bit called 702. And she shows up a lot. And I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here with that name.
That's the wrong Amelia.
It's not me. Not me at all. And you know what I'm extra worried about is that I found them on Instagram. There are these like 2 little girls out there somewhere, and their parents made them these Instagram accounts, and they have the exact same name with me, first, middle, and last. So if they become very successful, I could get pushed out of Google completely.
How old are they?
They're very young. They're under 5 years old.
So you don't have to worry about it for a while.
Yeah, I got some time.
I don't think that the chances